Dom Nicastro here, managing editor of CMSWire. Hello, everybody. My colleague is joining me today, Michelle Hawley, senior editor for SMG, which is the parent company of us, CMSWire.com, rework.co. She writes across both sites. Hey, Michelle, what's going on?
Hey, Dom, it's going pretty good. How's it going for you?
Good. I'm glad to have you. Usually, and I told this in our colleagues interview, Jen Torres, usually it's us and someone else, right? One of us and someone else. We usually interview other people outside of our company, sources, experts, but now we're interviewing each other. How cool is that?
Yeah, the tables have been turned. It's a little weird.
You're the interviewee now. And also, you've been great on the podcast this year, CX Decoded, joining us on that one. And we're looking forward to many more fun pieces of content from you in 2023. But we are here to discuss your personal top five CMS Wire stories of the year. And before we get into those and break those down and what intrigued you about each of those five stories, I want to talk about you a little bit, Michelle. So give our viewers a little background on the person behind that little one paragraph bio that they can see on cmswire.com and rework.co. How did you arrive in the SMG world and the seat that you're in now?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've always had a background in creative writing. I've loved writing for as long as I can remember. And when it came time to kind of like pick my career path and all that, I saw two distinct options that I could go with to stay within writing. And these were just two distinct options for me, not every writer. And that was either journalism, straight news journalism, or digital marketing. And then my career over the past 7, 8 years has kind of been a combination of both of those, with an emphasis kind of on the digital world and our experiences within it. And now with CMSWire, I've had a chance to really dig deeper into that digital world, how brands can tap into it, but also how people kind of experience it. And the internet's not new anymore. It's a few decades old at this point, but it still kind of feels like the Wild West in a lot of ways, in
Yeah.
terms of what we can do on it, how it's being regulated and reined in. It's really a learn as you go process. And so it's been great to watch all of that unfold and then get to write about it.
You summed it up great, because it's like we as journalists, we see all these trends and we present them and we throw them out for fodder, right? We're like, you should pay attention to this. We don't know if it's going to take off, right? Like you, and we'll talk about this a little later, so I'm giving a sneak peek, but you wrote about like Mastodon, the newish social media platform that was creating a lot of buzz in December, November. And you had two great stories on that we'll get to in a minute, but it's like we get these trends and they're red hot, but at the same time, as journalists, we're always thinking, how long will it be red hot? Right?
Yeah, I ask that a lot with some of these things that I write about, because people get really worked up about certain things. You're like, oh, this conversational AI or the metaverse, that's been a huge topic this year. And it's kind of like, oh, we're freaking out about it right now, but in 6 months, is it still going to be a topic that we're talking about, or is it going to fizzle out? Because I think that's what happens with a lot of these trends. And it's kind of trying to determine which ones have long-term staying power.
Yeah. Like, for instance, the one that keeps us employed, the internet.
Yeah.
That was a hot trend that did stick around. So, and then now everyone's trying to build off of that. And things like Web3, is it going to be more decentralized than the version of Web 2 is now? Are the Facebooks, are the Googles going to have less power? We don't see it, I don't think. And the people we talk to don't. There's excitement, but we don't see it actualizing, soon. And a research firm like Forrester agrees that like the metaverse is maybe 10 years away from any kind of real practical applications and huge profits for businesses, although some people are so far, but not widespread. So
no, if you look at it from a business perspective, I mean, metaverse is one of those interesting ones because it's been really hyped up this year. They're talking about it being like, oh, the new way we interact online, and it just kind of reminds me of the hype that surrounded Google Glass when that was first announced. Like, this is going to be a new way to experience the world, and then it just kind
then
of
it
died.
wasn't. Then it wasn't. That's what happens. It's like, this is awesome, and now it isn't, and then people just move on. It's nuts. And then the latest is, chat GPT, and just being able to type in a query and have answers come in. And it's fascinating, it's fun, but at the same time, it's like, guys, this is kind of what Google does. It's a little different. It makes you work a little for the results. You got to dig in and choose a result, where chat GPT just throws a result at you and like, this is awesome. It's so fast and it's amazing, but it's not revolutionary, it seems, in terms of search engine stuff.
Yeah.
We've lived through that before. All right, I think we should get into your top 5. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, so let's start with this one. So, top 5 articles from Michelle Hawley. You can look her up. Michelle Hawley, CMSWire, Michelle Hawley Reworked. We're talking about CMSWire stories today. The first one is 3 tales from the creepy personalization vault and one important lesson. So, what'd you learn there? What intrigued you about this one?
Well, personalization is one of those things now where it's kind of like you have to have it as a business. Even me as a consumer, don't show me irrelevant content. Show me things that are specific to my interests. Don't make me give you the same information twice. We really need that now when it comes to e-commerce, any type of digital experience. But some brands take it a little too far. They collect a lot of information and they kind of show their hand and like, oh, this is everything that we know about you. We know where you are, when you went there, what you bought, what you did, who you saw, who you talked to. And so this article kind of covered 3 of those real life stories from people who had a creepy personalization experience. And it kind of delves into the lesson that companies can learn from that. How much is too much when it comes to personalization?
Good. And don't tell anyone what those lessons are. We wanted to click on that article to find out. Related to that is another story you were fond of from 2022. Are third-party data vendors safe? So this is all about, engaging, if you're a brand, with the companies that provide you this a massive amount of data, but it might not be the most secure.
Yeah, I mean, data privacy, data security, those are those topics that I keep coming back to as the internet grows, as companies collect more information. I mean, it's kind of scary when I really sit down and think about it, where all this data is going and what's being done with it. And the thing with third-party vendors is most businesses use them. I think it was something like only 4% of organizations don't use a third-party vendor. It's a high number. And a lot of those companies don't understand the risks that come with using those vendors, the permissions that they're giving, access to the data, and what can result from that, whether it's a security breach or a personal data breach, or even a supply chain attack, a ransomware attack. So this article kind of goes over what those risks are, and what companies can kind of do to keep themselves safe, even if they don't want to step away from third-party vendors altogether, because it's almost impossible at this point.
Yeah, it's like if there's a Facebook breach and a lot of our information got out there, we're not going to be like, oh, it was ABC data that did it. We're going to be like, Facebook screwed up our data.
Yeah.
So consumers are not going to look to these third parties. They don't care who manages their data. At the end of the day, it's that brand they interact with that they give their data to. So it's incumbent upon brands to know all they can about these third-party data vendors and what happens when there's a breach. What's the process? What's breach notification look like? So yeah, good. I'm glad. So those 2 articles were kind of related. Your 2 favorites, personalization, but doing it on a safer level with data.
Yeah. And that kind of data even kind of taps into the next article there, the third one.
Yep, the metaverse, trusting Meta's metaverse. What was the gist on that one?
So Mark Zuckerberg is a fascinating person. I think all people who run social media at this point, they're kind of interesting people. We tend to really follow them almost like celebrities. But Mark Zuckerberg and his companies, especially Facebook, have had, kind of some gray, iffy situations in the past regarding data privacy and security, how they're influencing their users. And with Meta kind of spearheading this metaverse project, I mean, it's a project between a bunch of different companies, but Meta's really kind of at the forefront. It makes you question, if this iteration of the internet comes to fruition, if this is where people are going to interact on the internet in the future, is it something that we can really trust?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the article attempts to answer.
Yeah. I can't wait for our marketers and our customer experience folks to really dive into the metaverse, because it's going to get silly in there. There are going to be these avatars, right, in the metaverse, like showing you like, hey, give us your email, you know.
Yeah. Come into
Um,
the digital Nike store.
yes, yes, and sign up for everything in the metaverse. And those old school marketing tactics, I know, I get a feeling they're still going to apply. We're still going to do those things. And at the end of the day, the metaverse, the Web3, it's all going to land in someone's inbox. Like that's like that's the connective glue to all things marketing. Some may be listening to this and say, what are you, nuts, Dom? We've gone beyond email. Yeah, right. Look at the email statistics. Look how many companies ask you to do an email to sign up or use an email to log into something, right? The sign in. So yeah, it's going to be funny to see if marketers butcher the metaverse with, or are they going to keep it smart and realize that there's a lot of young folks in there that won't fall for that,
Mm.
and just want to be in there and undisturbed. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, not to give anything away about the article, but I tend to land on the more skeptical side of whether the metaverse is even going to take off to get to that point. I'm kind of predicting more of a flop.
Okay. You heard it here first. Michelle, they have these viral clips where, people were saying the internet's going to die and all that like years ago. So they can use this if the metaverse takes off. Look at what
Yep.
this CMSWire editor was saying in 2022.
Look
All
how
right.
wrong she got it.
Last couple of stories are the same subject, but two different approaches. One is a foundational piece of content that we like to call it, and it was what is Mastodon. So this is early December, late November, where this social media platform was just taking off, getting millions of signups and all that, because of it timed with the entrance of Elon Musk into Twitter. So there was a lot of exits from use of Twitter. Not that Mastodon is in Twitter's range yet for users, but nonetheless, it was still the hot number of the day. So you explored that one.
Yeah. So it's been interesting to see how Elon Musk has been handling the Twitter takeover, but that's been one of the big catalysts is all these people who, whether they don't like how Musk is handling the Twitter takeover or they don't like his political views or whatever it is, people are jumping ship from Twitter and they're looking for alternatives. And one of the big popular ones that came up was Mastodon. And Mastodon is a open source decentralized social media platform. And so sometimes the first thing people think when they hear that, okay, well, what is an open source decentralized social media platform? How do I use it? Do I even want to use it? And that's kind of what this article, it's kind of a guide to everything you need to know about Mastodon. How to use it, if you should use it, how to sign up for it, who owns it, is it safe to use, kind of everything that you want to know.
Yeah. And that's why we wrote it, because we know people are going to be asking that query into Google. Maybe they'll ask it in Chat GPT now, and
Yeah.
they don't have to have Google anymore. But no, we think there's definitely a use case for it, and we want to be in that conversation. So great job on that piece. And then the other one was what we like to say, we play off of the foundational content with kind of like side stories. And this one was a good one. It was on the Mastodon servers, because that's an important part of this social media platform.
Yeah, well, people want to go sign up for Mastodon, whether they want to check it out for the first time or they've heard really good things and they think, well, how can I use this from a business perspective? So they go to sign up and then they sit there scratching their heads because part of the process is you have to pick a server. And that's where people are like, okay,
What's
well,
that?
what's a server? How do I pick one? How do I know which one's the right one? What happens if I pick one and I hate it? And so that's what this article covers. What are Mastodon servers? How do you pick one? And how do you get started using the platform?
Yep. That's what we do here, Michelle Hawley and CMSWire. We give answers to confusing issues. We hope to give answers. That's how a good journalist starts. A good journalist starts from a foundation of confusion, because we're confused. Like, so we're like, what are these? Oh, we should do a story because we don't know. Probably other people don't know. So let's answer that question. So, all right, fun. It was great to catch up, Michelle. Top 5 stories, Michelle Hawley, CMSWire.com. You can find her profile. She also writes for our sister site too, rework.co, and we cover more digital workplace, employee experience, found content on that site too. So, hey, the pug, I didn't hear any noises in the background from the sleeping pug.
No, he's been really quiet. I bought him I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but it's called a dog condo. And so it's like a double story dog bed so he can look out the window. So he's been
No.
very happy with that lately. Keeps him nice and quiet.
Is it like one of those, like the dog version of one of those cat towers, like where they can go in
Yeah,
and yeah.
it's kind of like that. It has a bottom
Interesting.
they can sit in, and it's got stairs on the outside of it so he can climb up to the top.
Really? He likes it?
Oh, he loves it. Yeah.
Oh, it's like
He loves
his. He
looking out the
knows.
window. Yeah. I
I
live
love
across the
that.
street from a farm, so he loves to look out and growl at the cows and the horses.
Does he really?
Oh, yeah.
What happens when he gets close to them?
When we're outside, he wants to chase after them. I think
Eh,
he thinks maybe he was like a corralling dog in the past.
what's his name again?
It's Porky.
Porky. That's right. So what?
Yep.
So you got to tell him, like, Porky, this is bad math. Like if you do actually catch up to the horse or the cow, what happens then? Like, what's the
I
action?
I've tried to explain that to him. I really think it's all my fault though, because he had no problem with them until I kind of introduced him to the horses and the cows, and I called them big dogs.
Yeah.
And it's been an
Let's
ongoing
go see the big
rivalry.
dogs. Let's go see the big dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, appreciate you catching up with me here, Michelle Hawley. Thank you. And look forward to a lot more content, discussions, trends captured through your words and voice in 2023. I hope you have a great holiday season.
Thanks, you too. It's been great chatting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what topics 2023 is going to bring us.
All right. Talk soon.
Hey, bye.
Bye now.